television. But luckily, we have some clever items from our friend Doja Cat and BH Cosmetics, as well as this exciting palette from Makeup Revolution. And it's got all of these exciting purples and pinks in it. So, in preparation for work on Tuesday, I went in with this Doja Cat Cloud Coat Mauve Rose Liquid Lip Powder. And it certainly does give you this like powdery texture on your lips, but look at that color. It's very much fuchsia. This is our Creme Shop Unicorn Pride sponge that we're really not trying to get dirty because it's so cute. Creme Shop was over at DragCon, so I feel like they have more than just the typical corporate interest in marketing, but they, are trying to integrate themselves into the LGBTQ experience. But look at these shades, right? This is the Forever Flawless Hydra Turtle, right? This we Native Americans call North America Turtle Island, and this certainly speaks to that. And all of these shades are just, very evocative of the 1980s. I've gotten some of the shades on my eye. I'm not sure if the shimmers are period appropriate. I can't recall whether there were shimmer eyeshadows being used in the 80s. I don't know. But, our, we got 2 pages of directions about what our makeup and hair prep should be with, reference photos and all of that. It certainly shows the colors, but it doesn't seem to, I think lip color was shimmery, and they're open to having shimmery colors on our nails, but we'll see. But I thought I would try to figure out shadow placement. I was in a 1978 project last week, and the makeup people put cool tone blues on my lids, and it just was a wash of 1 or 2 colors, and then a cake liner black under the eye. It wasn't the most flattering thing. And then I also was wearing a shirt that, the tag, which I kept, seemed to suggest it was actually a 1940s shirt, technically, but it kind of looked old-timey, and I wore it with like a denim skirt, and I kind of had my hair just like this, and surprisingly, without the claw clip, but I just pinned it up with a Fakari, one of those like metal clamps. It was gold, but I was surprised that the head of hair, who I ran into at catering for breakfast, was like, "Oh, I love it. You look like, you look legit without it being like Farrah hair, or what was 1980s hair? Like Donna Summer, or some of the women were, well, everyone was asked to come to set with their hair in curlers, right? And the directions can be very elaborate. This is a different show, but it's like a 15-step list of hair prep for women with straight and wavy hair. Wash hair night before, no conditioner. I mean, really? If conditioned, rinse very well, towel dry. Use any of these products. They give a list of like 7 products you're allowed to use. Blow dry, roll with sponge rollers overnight, away from face, basic roller set. Like in modern times, people don't really do roller sets, right? It's much more hot tools, flat irons, different barrel sizes of curling irons, even using flat irons to curl the hair. But basic roller set is not, I feel like we don't really know what that is unless you've spent weeks working on a period piece. And most of these shows, at least pre-Global Panini, were, have entire staffs of people who do this work. So I was surprised, like a couple of women came to that kind of 1970s set with poker straight hair, no rollers. Are we allowed to make the choice to not do what the casting people relay from the hair department? I'm unclear, but I certainly did watch both of these women with poker straight hair get the hair department to section and roll their hair and curl it. And I thought their hair was going to come out like curly, but it was kind of one of those like swoopy, kind of brush the curls into a curly shape. One had a comb in her hair, the other one may have been a barrette, but it was more of a kind of swirly curled hair than I also do have a hot pink and a dusty pink. You know, I tried to do my best to get hold of everything I could from the collection since I liked the first things I got so much, including these liquid eyeshadows that I kind of utilized in a different live. But I figured, you know, got into Target, got at some different newer makeups. I've been seeing a couple of tutorials from like Daisy Cash and some other folks about this L'Oreal Age Perfect 4-in-1 Tinted Balm, right? And then I also had gotten hold of the Age Perfect Radiant Serum Foundation. I guess I'll hold this for a different makeup experiment, but I figured I'd hop on and use my favorite silicone sponge. Everyone uses brushes, but that's not my jam. Have my mirror, and do I need to zoom in a little bit closer just so you can see the face as I do this? But this is in the shade number 10, medium, moyenne. And it says, skin looks firmer, smooths lines, conceals imperfections, evens tone. So according to our makeup directions, we are asked to come with foundation natural or matte finish, soft, full and natural brows, mascara, and pink or peach blush wide on cheek. I mean, for the 80s, I feel like maybe they mean like in the outer part of the face, because it just seemed like a really severe kind of stripe on each cheek, at least, you know, in music videos and stills that I've seen from the time period. So it has like kind of a moussey type look. This is our favorite soft, flexible sponge. So dipping that in and getting it on our silicone sponge, and then let's see what we can do. You know, I think it's a good color match. And, you know, from what I've heard, it does give you a natural finish, and it kind of like perfects without being like a heavy opaque look. And I was watching TikTok, I can't remember the name of the artist, but she was saying that the difference between foundations that you use with a brush as opposed to a like a beauty sponge, right? Not a silicone sponge. It's the difference between light to medium coverage, meaning you could use a brush with that, am I right? And then heavier coverage, you kind of put it on and then use a sponge to kind of blend it in with your skin so that that heavier foundation will have a skin-like texture. Does that make sense? Or is it the opposite? What do you think? Because I feel like my issue with brushes and sponges is that they tend to absorb product. I can see using a sponge to bounce out something where either the color needs to be kind of scaled down, as it were, or, you know, you just don't want a streaky look. You want a look that kind of looks like skin, right? Whether that's full coverage or medium coverage. But, you know, just getting it on this sponge and bouncing it out looks a little bit, ooh, I'm tempted to scoop quite a lot of it out, but it looks kind of like peanut butter. It's softer. It's soft like peanut butter on a warm day. But just looking into our mirror, we have every light in the world on. I hope you can see my face. And, you know, it gives you quite a pretty finish. In the 1980s, there was no contouring, and there really wasn't a discussion of highlighting. I think people just seemed to go in with foundation that would like unify their skin tone, right? And I do love this lip color, but this doesn't look mauve as much as it looks hot pink. But we'll see when we get into the hot pink, you know, whether this is the right shade. And I really would love to get my hands on one of the Doja Cat palettes, just because I'm loving everything else that I've gotten my little House of Tanya paws on from the collection. If you have any connects, I think it's for sale on Beauty Bay. Um, you know, I tend to get my makeup retail, but maybe that's not gonna work this time if I really want that palette. I was able to get the Ivani Gregg Morphe palettes, and you know, I'm always thrilled when I get palettes that are interesting and that I like, but you know, for this particular collection, I might want to know more and see more because, you know, in as much as people criticize this makeup release and say, oh, it wasn't promoted heavily, right? But we know Doja Cat just dropped out of her tours and her festival work to have a tonsil surgery, you know, I guess allegedly, but you know, that's Mauve Rose. Yeah, the label on the package says Mauve Rose, and this certainly looks fuchsia to me. It doesn't look mauve and it doesn't look rose. But it definitely works for 1980s. I actually have a jacket that's this color that has these absurd shoulder pads that I don't think they would let me wear on this show. No, because I got a very specific fitting with like 7 outfits. It was like actually a really fun fitting. I, you know, got my call time pulled up earlier by a few hours, and luckily I was paying attention and I was able to make that adjustment, but I went to my fitting out in Chatsworth without really eating that much. So by the time I got through all the paperwork digitally and I got through, you know, sitting in the waiting area, I was starving, but, you know, excited to, you know, try on different outfits and stuff like that. It's really fun for me. Let me close up this package, but I'm really happy with the finish of this Age Perfect 4-in-1 tinted balm. It definitely looks skin-like. It definitely has the finish that would be acceptable to this project, but you know, you just kind of are trying to get through your labor of the day. But what was cool was that the costumer was so cool and so nice, and he actually stopped me by their little crafty area and let me get some peanut butter cups that were dark chocolate from Trader Joe's, and tossed me a little package of, you know, the Trader Joe's like trail mix with like nuts and cranberries and whatnot, and I ate the chocolate and I felt so much more energized for the hard labor of putting on different outfits. This is a L'Oreal Infallible Paints blush palette. It has a series of different colors. According to the directions, I should pink or peach, wide on cheek, so I think that means out there, and it comes with a terrible little brush, which I guess we can use for the 1980s, but super nice costumer, really cool music mix on. He went away for a while, and it was like this stage that Chatsworth, as you know, if you watched my other posts, is one of the, you know, sort of premier locations in the world for adult film. And so a lot of these stages were built very aggressively during, you know, the 70s, and what a terrible little brush, during the 70s and 80s, and they're huge. It was a huge facility, very, you know, kind of anonymous outside, but, you know, it's vast, and I did not know the project. I thought it was a movie or something, but it actually is a series using this terrible little brush. Let's see. Let's try to angle it up and get it on that outer third, not coming in past the pupil of the eye. But wow, what a terrible brush. What did I want to say? Yeah, so it was like just cool vibes and cool outfits, and you could see why that was the fashion of the time, because, you know, once you get the boot on and the trousers and the pleats, and, you know, some of the shirts were, you know, so dingy from age, that it just was a little disgusting. But, you know, I'm a thrifter, so that's not gonna put me off, right? I mean, that's definitely blush, and this is the last shade in the palette, which is the more pink looking one. So just trying to balance out the purple and that quote mauve of the lip with a pink on the cheek that will look period appropriate. Just so that, you know, we experiment before the day, so that on the day we at least know we're kind of looking like we're in the ballpark, instead of, you know, getting it on the face out of the palette and being shocked and disappointed, which certainly has happened before. But, you know, just one little crisp line of blush going up until the hairline, not coming in too far. Pink and purple is what they asked for. In modern times, we would also take that across the nose, but maybe we can just get it across the forehead, maybe a flick or two on the chin. And if we do a little bit on the nose, maybe they won't notice, right? So from here, they're talking about mascara, not false lashes. You know, this is it's a drugstore product, right? Grabbed it whenever I grabbed it, just figured, you know, more blush options in case of need, right? You never want, especially in this new post global panini era, you never want to be caught lacking, right? When somebody asks you to put curlers in your hair or to appear with curly hair, you kind of want to make sure you do that, right? If they ask you to bring plain, you know, black or nude pumps to your fitting, you kind of want to do that, right? You kind of want to cooperate because, as you can imagine, there's a ton of competition for any of these gigs, right? People get upgraded on set, you know, all the time, right? You can go from being, you know, kind of a bartender to a series regular very easily based on your look, right? How well you execute the aesthetic of the show, how much you and your look and your acting kind of support the authenticity, right? The authenticity of the period, the, you know, I guess how well you do your eyeshadow. This eyeshadow is a little patchy over here, but I put one of these e.l.f. putty primers on the lid because I saw Daisy Cash do that, and then when I actually read the read the package, it said not the poreless putty primer. I think it was a luminous putty primer, and I don't know if that makes a difference to how well the eyeshadow is gripped. I could go over it, and then I also I was doing what was I doing? I was doing an Instagram reel when I thought, because Daisy Cash was like, yeah, just take your brush and, you know, create a liner by scraping off some of your shadow. And I did that in a dish with some blue, and I sprayed my thin little liner brush with some setting spray, right? Just this random Smoke and Mirrors Ethereal Silver, but it is water, glycerin, butylene glycol, which I am imagining is some kind of alcohol, because when I swiped it, and you can vaguely see it under my eye, when I swiped it under there, the burning and the tearing, which actually made my short video kind of funny. But yeah, I was like, well, you know, is my regular dish of water gonna cut it? Or should I do what, you know, big YouTubers do? But I don't think I'll do that again. I think I'll work with water because, you know, the Avani Gregg palette also has not just shadows, but cake liners. And I believe that you're supposed to wet these, but it doesn't, does it say what you wet it with? Because you know, you kind of don't want to contaminate the product. So just using a small tool to scrape, wet your brush before you line, right? All of this last 2 rows, they're cake liners in all sorts of different colors, but does it do to keep wetting and re-wetting the actual palette? Unclear, but look at this nice big mirror. Look at that. How's that for production value? You can see the stripiness of the stripe on my cheek. You can see the highlight of the brow, right? That's pretty cool, right? I look like I'm a Duran Duran album cover. right? Sorry, I could do this for hours. And in fact, I have. So yeah, this is something to be explored, but you know, this palette is not terrible for 1980s, and I feel like I could travel with this and let them kind of like pick and choose. It might be good to just go in with a monochromatic or maybe two different tones of purple, right? This plum here and this purple here on my skin tone, because they're darker shades, will read more than the palest of shades. They've asked us to come with a few different choices of lipstick, right? And it doesn't say they want us to round our nails because mine are quite square. No fake nails, no French manicured, no squared or pointed tips, right? No coffin nails. So you need a rounded, shorter nail in pink, fuchsia, red, or natural. So, and they said that they were open to pearlescent, and you can just see some remnants of kind of a pearlescent, I guess it's like a peach on my nail. But, you know, I'm working on it. I'm working on this homework, these elaborate directions about what we should come to set looking like, just to save them labor, right? Is it necessary? It's more like a courtesy, right? Out of gratitude to the people who cast us and who, you know, keep us employed through these hard times of, I don't know what you call it. Is it, I would hope that this whole business is over. So lip color is, I can't read the lip colors, but I want to say pinks. But I did really like this. This is what made me fall in love with the Doja Cat makeup line. This Cloud Coat in Deep Berry the other day, my last live. Oh my goodness. So good. And I feel like, it hasn't happened yet, but I feel like trends are moving toward a healthy looking matte lip, right? Not so much gloss, and, you know, certainly for a period piece, you can't have all that liner. But I think we've done, you know, an able job of getting some kind of 80s type look on. Maybe they'll prevent me from putting all this shimmer in the inner corner, but it's habitual, right? The inner corner shimmer for a hooded or deep set eye is like such a powerful thing in terms of making your eye shape look alluring, right? Making it look attractive and making it look aspirational, like this is the eye shape to have. Because you know, calling it hooded eye or deep set eye, it almost suggests that there's something wrong with having that, right? We could go the step of adding mascara. We could go the step of adding a fake lash. But really, we're going to go to the gym and we might go get some milk and eggs and whatnot. You know, I do feel like this Age Perfect 4-in-1 tinted balm is very easy to use. It sets down in a very appealing way. The color match with this bodysuit that has open elbows, it's very, you know, I would almost say in this lighting for sure, it's spot on. Maybe it's a little bit more golden than my actual complexion. Now that I'm looking in this mirror, let's just think about whether the finish is exactly the way that we need it to be. You know, we have not powdered, right? But it gives you a very normal looking skin-like finish, right? You could set under the under eyes, you could powder the nose, but you know, for a trip to the grocery store and the discount store, is that necessary for Target? We might be all right. You know, I still have to do a try-on haul for you, but since the sun is going down, I might hop out to do that errand and then work on the try-on haul when the sun is high tomorrow. But check out my Daiso haul that I posted as a short. And I also had some words of wisdom for, you know, as we prepare for Pride to start and go the month of June. I'm very excited. I've been invited to participate in an LGBTQIA writing workshop for the entire month of June. Write Out Proud, which is a kind of evolution of the Write Out Loud project that the HIV Writers Workshop has been, sort of having for the last several years. And I've definitely grown from that and enjoyed writing and like reading my piece with that group. But now this is the new kind of iteration of it. I was really excited that a literary agent reached out to me about, a novel I've been working on off and on for a few years, and I will, kind of move that forward. Again, we're backing into, this is hiatus for television production, so we're kind of backing into July as when that kind of work starts again. There have been all sorts of different opportunities popping up for me, just in terms of like creative executive or writing opportunities and acting opportunities, and maybe a way to kind of get my own projects jump started by moving into a publishing direction. All of these things are, when you have the time and you're able to focus on your own makeup or your own channel or your own social media, and be serious about it, you can make some appreciable progress. And that's the best thing that we can hope for as creative people, not only to have the idea but then to execute it and to be serious about it and be able to take it to market. And I have to say, one of the most important things to do is to avoid people taking advantage of you from a legal standpoint. I've certainly had my own sort of journey with this project when I developed it, some years ago. And, I've written 2 or 3 scripts. I've been working on the manuscript for the story all along, but, it is important to be in touch with professionals that are on your side. I'll say it like that. Just using the same brush to just try to finesse the finish of our eyeshadow. It's got like a sort of slender blue liner, right? I've managed to destroy that liner on this side, but I feel like I should avoid the blue liner altogether on the day and really focus on the colors that they asked for, which is purple, peach pink, whatever the other colors in this style guide are. Not too brown because that's 90s, but more like peach, pink. They're not even nude colors really. Maybe even wine, but I think if I keep it kind of bright and album covery, I should be in a good place. Just think early Madonna if you've ever seen those photos for reference. So, that's what the makeup's looking like. We're very excited about what's going on. Certainly, I don't know if they're crows or ravens outside, but they're very vocal in the morning and in the evening. I don't know what that means. Are they in love? Are they having a snack? But yeah, we're gonna wrap up this live. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching the replay. This is just a little star-inspired jewelry, a little pride-inspired jewelry, a little, chain breaker-inspired jewelry from Target, and makeup shadow by Makeup Revolution London, cheeks by L'Oreal, lips by BH Cosmetics, and base, very, very good. This L'Oreal Paris Age Perfect 4-in-1 tinted balm. If you can get your hands on this, I highly recommend trying it out. As a very, if you're a young mom, if you're a working woman on the go, it seems very handy to be able to kind of like slap it on, finesse it in the mirror, and trust that it's gonna do good and flattering things for your face. It says it has firming serum, but I'm not sure if it has any good for skin ingredients beyond that. And then there's another style of product, the Age Perfect Radiant Serum Foundation Sunscreen. So this one has an SPF 50 sunscreen. So this one may also be a good option to get a couple of steps done quickly on the go and then get your color on and then figure out if you have time to go mascara, brow product, etc. Should we do something to our brows? Whenever I search for it, I can't find my spoolie. Here it is, right? Mr. Spoolie. And then where are the brow products? They're hiding, right? But if this is our spoolie and we keep searching to see, oh, there it is, our enchanting elf soap brow. I do like this, and I did see Daisy Cash actually spray hairspray on her spoolie and get that into the brows, and I thought, wow, how unorthodox, and in a way clever, because that's exactly what you want. You want your brows to be coated in product, right? Mess them up, get that product on there, make sure that they're all coated, and it's almost like you're letting it dry down a bit too. But it's just to finesse your brows and give them a little bit more shape and refinement, right? Just like the lip color kind of perfects your lip shape. It's not like your lips weren't there before, right? But between liner and gloss and color, you can really end up with something that's you, but augmented, right? It's brushing these brows into shape, up and also at an angle, especially as you pass the arch of the brow, right? But wanting a lifted, fluffy shape. And I do believe this product holds the lifted shape better, right? So now we look like a villain. Take the end of the spoolie and just brush that little tail over to the side. You don't want to take out all the lift, right? You just don't want it to be, you know, I'm gonna end the world like a Bond villain. From here, I feel like part of what I've been doing wrong with my NYX Fill-In Fluff is that I work too quickly. I do need to let this wet brow, what is it called? Soap brow, dry before I try to get into the same area and draw extra brows to extend the tail, right? Now let's look at the angle of our shadow, right? So the idea is to lift that eyeshadow at an angle that meets the end of the brow, but if you extend the brow, then you get more space to extend out your eyeshadow, and then you can lift up just this bit here, right? I've been kind of freehanding it, and I do see people working with tape a lot. In the 80s, was that something that people did? I'm not sure. But, you know, all of these things, it's part of our kind of makeup and grooming education, right? The more that we get things right and get them to our taste, the more empowered we are to look the way that we want to look. Every actor has a brand. Every actor has, you know, a body of work. As you put together all the different clips of your speaking roles to, you know, submit to your agent or your manager, you want to be able to feel like, whether it's an afro wig, whether it's a cowboy boot, whether it's, you know, special effects makeup that gives you gills by your nose, you want to look identifiable, and you want your voice to be your voice and ability as an actor to carry, and you don't want to go way far out of your brand. Do you know what I mean? Like, you want to do work and look a way that you can be proud of, right? Whether that's your hair, your makeup, the kinds of roles that you take on. You know, it's really funny, since Johnny Depp is going through it with his ex-wife in court. A lot of things are coming up on YouTube, including an old series that Johnny Depp starred in when he was a baby. Basically, it was shot in Canada, 21 Jump Street. He's a young undercover cop working in high schools and, you know, having all different hairdos and stuff. But he is still very much himself, and his voice and those cheekbones and all of that. So even though this was a show that they liberally wrote the N-word on the wall, and I feel like, you know, there were some fairly with looking through today's lens, it was a little distressing, the content of the show, even though there were, a couple of Black principals on the show. It was a different time. I don't think it's not a show to be embarrassed about, but it definitely was a sign of the times, the 80s, the clothes, the hair, the music. The music can be a little bit much, the scoring on the show, but certainly you can understand why he was very much on his trajectory to being a star because of his presence and his acting and his voice and all of that. And I certainly think that that's a plus for him in court, because whether it's on his ex-wife's recordings of him or whether that's him on the stand answering questions, he's using that voice that we've all been listening to for decades, and it definitely is an asset. And I just want to, just use the concept of camera ready to really think about and to strengthen your brand and what it is that you bring to the table as an actor, as a performer. If you watch soap opera, you can see how much work goes into reacting to something that someone said, and just what is enough to button a scene. Changing the angle of your head, like an exhale, whatever that is, right? That these nonverbal reactions are as much of a sentence as an actual line. And that's, that's food for thought for today. As you consider your acting and performing craft, whether that's on your social media or on a union production, someone's film, music video, television series, streaming series. So it's getting dark out. I'm going to run along, but thank you for joining me, and thank you for sitting with me during this exciting makeup look. I'll see you next time. And I encourage you to, get into it. Yeah? Camera ready, hair, makeup, performance. It's all there for you to enjoy and share with the world. Okay, until next time. Bye.